Welcome, everybody, to the Winner's Circle, and I am Doug Upstone, and there's Chip Chirimbes here. Sean Higgs is not available today. He's a little under the weather, so hey, just Chip and I will run the show today, and some might even think it's going to be better. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying some might think that. No, I'm just kidding. Sean knows that we love him and everything else there, so we're good there. One thing I want to let you know right off the top, take a minute to subscribe to this channel. We have outstanding free picks each and every day, Monday through Friday here at the Winner's Circle with the crew here, with the various handicappers. And then after you have done that, go to your settings and hit that alert bell. Okay, and that will let you be notified each and every time we have that video. And so you don't have to go searching for it. You'll get a notification and you're good to go. Also, make sure that you hit the like button. We always like when you do that. We appreciate that. Chip and I both do, certainly on that. And then along with that, leave comments. I have to admit, the comment section has been a little bit light. I'm not in there every day, but come on, you guys got some thoughts. Leave some comments. Chip and I will check them out, and everybody else will too. So make sure that you do that. Hey, today, Game 1 of the NBA Finals, ready to go. And Gamblers World has a special price offer. So make sure that you stop by, pick that up. Chip has been killing it all season long in the NBA. I've done well recently in the NBA, in the playoffs. So make sure that you do that. And hey, baseball's in the third month now. So what you should do is go through that leaderboard, find yourself a handicapper, grab a week, grab a month. They will make you money, and it's all guaranteed. And then last, Chip, I already saw you got to play for tonight. The CFL starts tonight, baby. So here we go. We got some CFL action ready to go. Is your pick for tonight, or is it another day?
I have an opening game. So
you're right out of the box. Chip's firing, baby. Boom. He's ready to go. And then I'm looking at either Friday or Saturday. I haven't made up my mind. I will do that later today on a pick for the CFL. But both of us are accomplished in this sport, and football, we love it. And then WNBA, of course. Chip is off and running in the WNBA. So that's great to hear. So Chip, welcome aboard. I know that you have just been on freaking fire across the board here, like in everything. I know you've been number one, I think, for the last 30 days for like 2 weeks, okay, or close to it. He's number one in the WNBA. Number two in the NBA was there most of the season at number one. But then Jim Feist went on a nuclear run there for a bit, so passed him up. And in the last however many days, Chip is 20-6 across all sports. Chip, take it away.
Thank you, Doug. Really appreciate it. And, you're the one who said that the finals in the NHL might be a great series, and it looks like it did start off with an overtime game in Game 1. Tonight, you also mentioned the NBA opens up with its final series. By the way, the NBA and my Major League Baseball best bets for the playoffs and for the regular season for baseball are exactly the same. 17 wins out of 25 releases, which is 68%. I'm really happy with that. And the WNBA, which you mentioned, we're off to a 9-4 start. I thought I was 10-3, but I got nipped the last time out. But Doug, I had a lull there for I guess it was about 6 weeks. I couldn't find my way out of a paper bag. I mean, it was terrible. But I'm back in rhythm right now in all sports, and really happy about it. It's a great time of the year. Of course, we now have football, Canadian football. Doug, did you play any of that other football with the United States Football League or whatever it was?
Yes, I played the UFL. I played every week at least one game. I did not do the last week, week 10. And the reason I have found that week 10 it's kind of like the NFL last week. It's kind of useless. And when you're only talking about 4 games and literally none of them mean anything because everything's already set, I don't bother with that. But I will definitely, there's 2 games this weekend in the UFL, and I will definitely have a play locked and loaded for this weekend. So we got football back. It's not football that everybody loves. That's okay. Chip and I like winners. So that's what matters.
You know what? It's an interesting game, the Canadian game, with the 3 downs. It forces action. They have 12 men who can be in motion. And, of course, the Rouge. That's a great part of the game, getting 1 point by, putting the opposition in a position where they can't run the ball out of the end zone.
Yes.
Right? And now, Doug, I'm going to ask you something about that. On that Rouge, if a guy kicks a field goal and goes through and it's good, can they run that back as well? Is that considered a Rouge?
That's a good question. I don't know that answer. To be perfectly honest,
because then it might be a 4-point play. If they make the field
I
goal, then
think
they can't run it
that
back.
does happen on occasion. I think you're correct. Okay,
I'm not sure.
So well, if anybody watching this video has the answer, let us know. Okay,
Yeah, really.
So because I'm actually I changed my YouTube. I changed my television programming to YouTube. Got rid of I used to have Cox here, which was the main provider. Got rid of that at YouTube, and so CBS Sports Network is on there. So now they have a weekly game, and so I'm looking forward to watching. I mean, I don't sit there for 3 hours and watch every single minute, but
Right.
It's entertaining. And if I happen to have some action on it, or like yourself, hey, I'm definitely going to check it out.
And the overall play in the WNBA I think it's dramatically improved. It really look like basketball players out there right now. And you know what I like about their scheduling, Doug, is you're only going to get 2-3 games a day, so it's easier to concentrate, and you don't have a plethora of selections out there. And for my style, where I like to play the one single strongest game, it's been working out. I've just been posting one game a day, almost on a daily basis, and it's working out pretty well right now.
Yeah, the other thing too that I've noticed is, like with Golden State coming in, and then some of these. There's some really bad teams right now.
Yes.
I mean, the first month of the season, there's been 15s and 18s, for spreads. So
Doug,
that makes it tough.
No, I laid 18 with the Liberty. I laid 17 with the Liberty because like the dichotomy between the good and the bad is dramatic. Connecticut has 5 new starters. Washington has 3 new draft picks within, and these teams have changed faces. And you got to stay up on it. And I think right now that they're showing you that some teams just can't get there. The Connecticut Sun are struggling, and so we'll see along. I do have a play tonight out there, so just trotting along here, Doug. It's interesting. Here we are on a June 5th, and we have 4 different sports we've posted for: Major League Baseball, WNBA, NBA, and hockey, along with Canadian football. Make that 5 sports that we have out there right now, which is kind of unusual, I think, for this time of the year. But they've added the 2 sports. I mean, we now have Canadian football in the summer, and we have WNBA in the summer, which we hadn't had previously.
Yeah, and WNBA's schedule is quite a bit longer too. This particular year. And now, Chip, do you want to go in depth about talking about the? I know this is a favorite topic of Sean's, the Commissioner's Cup. You want to go in depth on that one and?
Listen, I'll tell you one thing about the NHL that's kind of unique and surprising. Their MVP for the playoffs is for the entire playoffs. It is not for the finals.
Right.
Baseball and most other sports, football and basketball, the MVP is for the finals. But for hockey, it's for the entire playoffs.
Yes.
Which may create kind of some unique situations where you have a guy receiving the MVP isn't even playing in the finals. And I don't know how that could be.
It was just, the things, you have the ups and downs too. I mean, you play in 4 series, whoever wins the MVP doesn't mean he was the best player in each series, that he played in. And he's going to have some lulls and what have you. So yeah, it's a different deal. And of course, before we started, you mentioned overtime. And of course I had Florida yesterday, who had a 3-1 lead yesterday. So nothing new there. So we move ahead. Chip, let's talk some baseball.
You've done really well in the hockey, Doug. You had a good season with the hocky.
Oh yes, it's been a wonderful season with hockey. Yeah. So I'm very, very happy the way it's turned out, and I know the people that the bettors that have jumped in at Gamblers World obviously are happy as well. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and we would look to wrap it up here. Let's talk some baseball now. Okay. Let's get to it here. We got the Yankees, are playing Cleveland tonight. I know that was your assigned game, so we'll start with you on that one, and like to hear what you got to say.
Well, the first thing is the Yankees got shut out last night, and Cleveland does lead the major leagues in shutouts, and yet they're a 275 favorite here, which, Max Fried has been outrageous. He had that one bad outing, I think it was like last time out, but the Yankees are averaging over 5 runs a game, almost 5.5, and Cleveland just about 4. The Cleveland at-bats, they've been struggling to score runs so far this year. They're only averaging 4 runs a game as it is. And, like I said, they do lead the league in shutouts, so, they shut the Yankees out yesterday. I would like the Yankees here, but there's no way I would lay 275. The Yankees are 14 games over 500. maybe if you bet $100 a game, Doug, you're up just under 200. And if you bet $100 a game with Cleveland, you're up 600. So I don't know which way to go there. The pitching is just so one-sided here with the, what's his name, Slade Ciccone, or I'm not quite sure.
I believe it's Sassoni. But and by the way, you like your Italian food, I'm sure as well. Here, I wasn't sure if that would be a sauce or a type of pasta.
It sounds like a pasta to me. And he's for the most part. And last time out, he 4 1/3. He gave up 5 runs on 7 hits, and they had to yank him. And the one time he faced the Yankees, no decision, but he did give up a home run to Aaron Judge. Fried 1.92 ERA. The Yankees had won 7 of 9 before yesterday. If you can lay a run and a half, I think that would be the way to go. I would not play Cleveland here, and I would not lay the Yankees high price. And 8.5 is the number after being shut out yesterday. I'm wondering if the Yankees bounce back with bats, and then you have to worry about the Cleveland bats, because they just haven't produced many runs. So, rather than get involved in the total, and I usually try and use that as an out. I'll play the Yankees here and lay a run and a half, and I think they bounce back against the Indians.
All right, so the official play from Chip is the New York Yankees on the standard run line in that one. And Chip, I was 100% on board with you until I found this out, okay? And it spooked me, okay? The Yankees are 1-10 on the run line after being shut out and playing with revenge. Okay, so that scares me. And Cleveland on the road, they are 8-0 on the run line after shutting out an opponent.
Wow.
Okay, at the previous day. So I'm off that altogether. So with Sassoni, okay, this guy gives up way too many home runs. You mentioned one to Judge previously, and I think the Yankee bats can do enough. I mean, they'll probably cover the run line. I just, knowing what I found out, I would hate to be on the wrong side of that. So I'm going to go Aaron Judge over 1.5 total bases. Okay, on this one, figuring he'll get at least 2 at bats. And maybe, who knows, if Sassoni does okay, he'll get 3 at bats. I'll take my chances with him on that situation.
Well, Doug, you have 2 trends here: 10-1 and 8-1. I think is what you gave me, and they're not clashing; they're going together. So I expect this thing to go down. I mean, when it gets like that, it just seems too easy, right? I mean,
that's the thing. I mean, they're both shutout situations. I mean, a lot of people can look at trends in a lot of different ways, and they can, dissect them, say they're wrong, it's this, it's that, and I get all that. But, a shutout is a very specific element, okay, for that to happen. And for how a team reacts in both situations that comes out that way, I don't know. I can't I'd like to take the Yankees, but I can't do it, okay?
It's hard to buck those numbers. It really is.
Well, on occasion, it certainly can be. All right, so let's talk about Sean's game, which was going to be Kansas City and St. Louis in this one. What are your thoughts on that one? It's a little bit tougher situation here. Now, St. Louis is a favorite in game 2, a small favorite, and then what makes it harder is that they're playing a day-night doubleheader. So I
hate that situation, Doug. I really do. Because you know what? And when they play doubleheaders, of course, they're always using, say, their reserves. The bench players get action, and because playing 2 games in one day is just too much for today's athletes. And Kansas City this year hasn't put the ball in play that much, Doug. They're a minus 167 if you bet $100 each game on them. And St. Louis has surprised a lot of people, I think, this year. I anticipated them having a rebound year. They're one of the best organizations in all of sports, and fundamentally they're sound. They're plus $45 on the year. Matthew Liberatore is going, and the Paisan is 3-4 on the year. His ERA is a decent 3.08, but Cole Ragans is out there. Ragans, R-A-G-A-N-S. He's coming off the IL, Doug, and he had an outstanding season last year, and this year he hasn't quite been there. 2-3 ERA at 4.5. I think the way Kansas City, they're starting to hit. They're starting to score a little bit of runs, but they haven't for the season now. We're over 60 games in. I think this game stays under the total. I mean, you got Ragans out there, and you have Kansas City's inability to score runs, and St. Louis. they're not going to win the World Series, I don't think, this year. And I look for this game to stay under the total, not so much because of the pitching, but more because I just don't think these teams are putting the ball in play as much as they should. And the thing that turned me on to this, Doug, was the total. The total number on this is 7.5. I think that's kind of low. So I think they're trying to get me to play the over, if you know what I'm saying. So
Right. Oh,
I would play the under. If that was 8.5, I might not even be thinking about it. But when I saw 7.5, I have to play the under if I was to play this game.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to agree with you on that. I mean, St. Louis, first of all, has exceeded expectations, but
Right.
they're starting to show a little strain. Now, maybe it's temporary, but they've lost 3 out of the last 4, and they've given up a lot of runs, 29 in those 4 games. So that's a problem. And then going forward, I'm not sure where they're going to be because starting today, they will play 12 games in 11 days.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a little more of a taxing schedule. I agree, though. Liberatore has been a surprise, and Reagan's has been a disappointment to this juncture. But I think both starting pitchers are actually pretty good, and I also like the fact that the bullpens are both solid, and St. Louis is especially at home more so than on the road. And Reagan's 14-3 under as a road underdog. Okay, so let's Chip and I are in 100% agreement here on this one. Take the under with Kansas City and St. Louis.
Okay.
All right, so the last game we have coming up. Oh, before I do that, again, just a reminder, okay, that you check out Chips and I's plays that we have going on today, or any of the cappers, okay, at gamblersworld.net. Okay, a lot of different guys have been having good seasons. Chips at the top of the leaderboard for the last 30 days. But Sean, I know I see he's been in there. Kevin Thomas has been on some nice runs. Rob Vincelletti has been on some good stuff. So we've got a lot of guys doing very, very well. Matt Fargo, he's plays a lot of baseball underdogs, and has been doing very well on those as well. So a lot of great action, a lot of opportunity for you to pick up some plays. And as I mentioned, consider a week or a month with some of the top handicappers. Yours truly had a couple tough losses yesterday, but still 6-2 in Major League Baseball of late, 59-45. Going back into, I think it's since April 1st or 2nd on that one. NBA action, I think 7-3 on the NBA. So, a lot of good stuff, and hockey's been great, as Chip and I both mentioned on that. So Cubs in Washington last night. What a pitcher's duel last night. Boy, I watched that game. Matthew Boyd and Mackenzie Gore both were outstanding. Okay, in that game, Cubs end up losing 2-0. I actually do have a play on this game on the side, so I'm going to talk about the total, which is 9.5. This is a bullpen game for the Cubs. They're going to start Drew Pomeranz. He might go more than an inning. He's capable. Certainly, he's been a starter in the past, so we'll see what happens with him. Cubs bullpen has gotten better as the season has gone along. Okay, so they're a little bit better, but not quite as good on the road. And that's not uncommon for a Major League Baseball team to not play as well on the road. Washington's going to start Jake Irvin, 5-1 record, very good, 3.93 ERA, not bad, but he's faced the Cubs 3 times. His ERA, a solid 9 on that one. So looking at this one, I think the Cubs are going to score some runs on Irvin. They are 8-0 over this year after they've lost a game by 2 runs or more, and the Nationals are 11-6 over as a home underdog of plus 125 to 175. I'm going over the 9.5 in this one for myself. Chip, what do you think?
Well, I think what you said before about our website having the finest handicappers among any of the other websites out there. We have 13 guys. You just named people leading the list continuously. So log on to gamblersworld.net, and, any one of us out there, I mean, you've got a solid performance by all 13 handicappers. The Cubs and Washington, how about this? $100 a game. You're up almost $700 with the Cubs. And here's Washington, 3 games under 500, and you could thank the bookmaker. You bet them $100 a game, you're up $747. And that's with a team that's 3 games under 500. But they have won 5 of their last 7. And before getting beat 2-0 yesterday, the Cubs had won 7 of their last 8. This is Drew Pomeranz. This is his second start. He's only pitching 1 inning each time out, sometimes not even that. And Doug, he hasn't given up a run yet this year.
Right.
At 13 and 2/3 innings, whatever it is, only 4 hits though. But he's only going to go an inning. I mean, this is what they're doing, and I hate when they started with this. Used to have 4-man rotations, and the guys would go every 4 days, and now. So, Jake Irving going for, like you said, for I was going to say the Redskins, for the Nationals, and 5-1's a pretty nice record, though he has been giving up some runs. His last outing, Doug, 5 innings, 10 hits, 6 runs. 10 hits is pretty big out there, and so I think maybe the Cubs as a $1.44 favorite on the road is what I have here would be the side. I don't like laying that, but I think Chicago is the side here, particularly off Washington winning yesterday. And, Washington's 500 club, 20, 3 games under right now. And the Cubs 15 games over 500. A bit surprising right now because they don't have Bellinger. And it's good to see the Cubs in the running because it's always good for baseball, I think. I just love their unis.
And also they're down to 2 starting pitchers. In fact, they're 2 best starting pitchers. So, yeah. I'm with you on the bullpen games. I'm not a fan, but when you run into a situation though, and this, I mean, it's just the way it is today. You try to run out 5 starting pitchers and you lose 1 or 2. I mean, you just don't have a lot of options. Okay.
And the chances are one of them isn't going to be on. And, this always happens. They go up there and they got 4 guys that are giving up 1 run, and then one guy comes up and he gives up 5 runs. And the thing that gets me about this is when a guy's pitching well, they'll yank him and think nothing about it. And when they'll let him work out and work the inning through and give up 4 or 5 runs in 1 inning. They don't come and replace him in the middle of the inning, which I find kind of strange in baseball because I just don't like the idea of there being a bullpen game like we did this. Who's that? That Cash down in Tampa? He ruined all of baseball.
Right. They're the ones that actually changed it. And the thing is too that I see. I watched the Cubs yesterday, and you see, they're, besides being married to a number of at bats for certain guys. The 3rd time through the lineup and that stuff. They also get very involved in pitch counts. And I'm not saying that's not a barometer not to use. And obviously there's plenty of data to support why they do it. But like yesterday, now, not that as it turns out, it wouldn't have made any difference, but it was 1-0 going into the 8th. And I think Matthew Boyd, came out with, he had like 85 pitches or something going into the 8th inning. And you could see through the first 2 pitches, they were both wide. You could see he was done. Okay. Yeah. He was visually tired. You could see he was just starting to get a little bit off, and they let him continue to pitch because his pitch count wasn't to 95. Okay. Yeah. So they let him go. He gives up another run. Well, then let's face it, a 1-run game versus a 2-run game going into the 9th inning, that's a huge deal, from a perception of the team batting. So, I don't know. I know it's supposed to be scientific, but sometimes, the eye test does work.
That's the point I was going to make. I said, does anyone evaluate by watching and looking and seeing what's going on out there? Or they reach a certain number, they have to take them out? Doug, in the College World Series, Vanderbilt, the number 1 team in the country, which was eliminated by Wright State. But a pitcher for Wright State had a no-hitter after 7 innings. He had 76 pitches. Wright State had a 3-0 lead. What do you think happened? They brought in a reliever, no hitter with only 76 pitches. They brought in a reliever to give up 4 runs at the bottom of the 8th. But I don't understand it. You leave a guy out there until they start to hit him, especially if he has a no-hitter, and he's only got 76 pitches. Pretty soon, Doug, it's going to be 76 are going to be the number in the pros, and they're going to go.
Well, it is for certain guys already.
And what happens now? You have to go 5 innings as a starter to get a win. Watch them adjust that rule where you don't have to go 5 innings anymore.
I would say, in some of those situations, I don't know if you have to have a number, but I guess 5 still should be the magic number, but the way it's done, how many pitchers have 80% decisions of their 30-some starts? Not many.
No.
So that's.
Here's another thing that bugs me. It has nothing. The idea you get credited for a quality start if your ERA is 4.5.
Yes.
You got to go 6 innings to give up 3 runs. 4.5? That's a quality start. So baseball.
Well, I'd like you I don't think they're using it anymore. I haven't checked a quote unquote official MLB box score. I sometimes look at ESPN ones and whatever for stuff, but I always, this would be very difficult to do, but Bill James came up with a way to chart what a pitcher does for a complete start, and it's a numerical number. I believe that goes up to 100. And I think that's what the high water mark is. I might be wrong on that, but and it was always very interesting. And typically, if a guy went 7 innings, gave up 2 runs, not a lot of walks with a number of strikeouts, his rating was in the 80s. And the guys, there's plenty of guys that if they pitch 3 lousy innings, it's in the 20s or 30s. And I just thought, that's kind of it's a real, there's a method to it, but I don't know. I mean, baseball likes to introduce new stats. I'm just not always sure that they're always useful. Okay. So anyways,
Right.
All right. So I'm going to take over for just a couple of minutes here. I'm going to talk about the Belmont Stakes. Okay. In New York. Now, have you ever been to Saratoga?
No, I've never been to Saratoga. I have been to Belmont and
Belmont Park. Okay.
Yeah, I've been to Belmont Park, and it wasn't. That
Have you been to the Belmont itself? The race?
Excuse me?
Have you been to the race, the Belmont Stakes?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't been to that. It's usually I was playing baseball when that was going on.
Okay, there you go. That's probably true on that one. So yeah, so we got that race coming up, and so there's 3 horses that stand above the rest in this one. The favorite right now is Journalism. Journalism won the Preakness. Excellent horse, great speed. It's the only horse in the field of 8 that is running its 3rd race in 5 weeks. Okay. So, pardon me?
And there's only 8 entrants?
Only 8 entrants. Correct. Yes. 8 entrants. So Journalism, like I said, is the favorite. And so you can't help but wonder, because horses, they just don't run them this way anymore, that, to where they, have the stamina. And even the Triple Crown winners, the last 2 Triple Crown winners, American Pharaoh, and I'm just drawing a blank on the other one, Justify, the last 2, they won the Triple Crown, but they ran their poorest race in the Belmont. Okay, in each situation. So it just takes its toll. So to me, Journalism, though, is still in the mix. It's won 5 of its last 6 races. So, I mean, the horse can do it, and it finished 2nd, in the Kentucky Derby. So that horse is right there. I think it's going to depend upon if the jockey can get the right trip to stay near the horses that break fast, so but not run too fast, get on the rail to stay there, come around the far turn, and have an opportunity to make a run there. I think if it has to get wide, I think it's just going to be too many steps. Okay. And I just don't know if he'll have enough energy. Certainly a win contender. Okay. I'm not dismissing that. And if Journalism won, that would not be a surprise, but I think it just needs the right trip. Now, Sovereignty won the Kentucky Derby. The horse is a closer. What is a closer? It's a horse that stays off the beat, behind the pack, and then saves it for the end, and then it just goes at the end, and that's exactly what happened in the Kentucky Derby. That's why that horse won. The Sovereignty has won 3 of his last 4 races. The only loss that it had was in the Florida Derby, but in truth, it finished 2nd and didn't need to win because it had already qualified for the Kentucky Derby at that point. Sovereignty is trying to become the first Derby winner to win the Belmont since Thunder Gulch 2 decades ago. Okay, and this one, Sovereignty is the second choice. It certainly is right there. Okay, in order to be able to win this race, and then the third choice is Baeza. This horse is 4-1 odds, so it's right in the mix. If you're going to include Baez in anything, this is going to be, by the way, a very popular bet horse because it's the only one with some, let's just say, some odds that you can win with at 4-1. Finished 2nd to Journalism in the Santa Anita Derby, was 3rd in the Kentucky Derby, and was gaining on the 2 leaders, okay, in the last 150 yards. So the horse still had some juice, and it started out of the 19th gate in that race. So with not as many horses in the field, okay, this horse is very strong, has some excellent speed ratings like the other one. If you're looking for a long shot, I'd look at Rodriguez, would be the best long shot of the bunch. But the horse, it missed the last 2 races because of an injury and because of lack of training. It has the talent. I just don't know that it has the speed, but I would say something to consider on that one. Now, as far as the race itself, I honestly, I don't really like, I can't say, for me to say I like one to win, Baeza would probably be the one I would choose. In terms of betting, though, okay, I'm going to make a small bet on Baeza to win. But my favorite bets, I like the idea of doing a 3-horse exacta box, which is six bets, including all 3 horses. The problem with doing that, though, is because you could win the race and lose money because the odds are going to be so low, okay, on that one. So in terms of, I'm going to do an exacta box with Baeza and Journalism and Baeza and Sovereignty. Hope Baeza comes on top. And I'll finish it off. I hit a trifecta back in the Kentucky Derby. I've won each of the first 2 races of the Triple Crown, trying to make it 3, another Triple Crown winner across the board, second time in 4 years. I'm going to do a trifecta box and hope I get all 3 horses, get in there, and one of these longer shots don't come in out of nowhere and comes in third and screws me up.
Doug, you said on Justify won the Kentucky Derby. Was that
no? Could Justify? I'm sorry. In this, are you talking this year? Journalism. No, yeah. Sovereignty won the Kentucky Derby.
Sovereignty, excuse me.
Yeah. Journalism won the
Preakness. Great ride that Kentucky Derby.
Oh yes.
You said how he came from behind.
Yep.
But journalism, as far as I'm concerned, is dead. I don't mean a horse race. I don't mean it means euphanize. I just mean journalism and as part of our news media. Always interesting. And Doug, don't you think? I mean, my thoughts are: shouldn't there be another week before they have the Belmont? Considering it's such a grueling race. You mentioned 3 races in 5 weeks. I think that may be one of the reasons there aren't as many entrants in this race.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, they don't, the training is not set up for like it used to be. Okay. And so here's the problem is that I think the best place to do it is that have a race every 3 weeks. Okay. So move the Preakness to 3 weeks, come back with the Belmont 3 weeks later. The problem that they have, the Belmont, and I think or I'm assuming a little bit about the New York Racing Association. It's an interesting organization. I'll just put it that way. And a lot of stuff goes on there, and they are steadfast in saying we will never move the Belmont.
Wow.
So that's, so because Kentucky Derby is always run on the first Saturday of May, if Belmont doesn't move, nothing changes.
Okay? That's too bad, because I think they get a little more. It might add anticipation as well. Over time, you're longing for it, waiting for it, but I think it's pretty grueling for the horses.
Yeah, well, they're just not used to it. All right, we got to wrap things up, Chip. I know today is June the 5th, and you have some information on that to talk about here for the people watching.
Thank you, Doug. I think it's quite fitting that we're talking about horses because in 1806,
okay, I'm ready.
The first trotter ran under 3 minutes for a mile. First time a trotter run under 3 minutes. They're now doing it in 2 minutes, right? And the name of the horse, the only reason I really brought this up, Doug, the name of the horse was Yankee. And it was probably more because it was only 40 years after the Declaration of Independence was signed. And being a Yank then was pretty popular. In 1920, this one's for Doug, Philadelphia Athletics owner Thomas Scheib, who they named Scheib Park after in Philadelphia for years, till 1953, said that he denied that the baseballs are not livelier than they have been in the past. And they were using this controversy because Babe Ruth all of a sudden became from a pitcher to a hitter, and he was hitting more home runs than all the other teams combined. This is one of my favorites. This one's for you out there, Jim. 1948 Rookie of the Year, Richie Ashburn, number 1 for the Phillies, left-hander, all-star, set the rookie hitting streak record with 23 games in 1948. And by the way, Richie Ashburn, 10 years later, hit 350 to lead the National League, beating out Willie Mays, who hit 347. 1952, Doug, the first nationally televised sport event was broadcast. And do you know who it was, or what even sport it was? It was an event in Philadelphia between Jersey Joe Walcott and Ezra Charles. Went
Okay.
15 rounds. It was a boxing match. That was the first, and there have been baseball games that have been broadcast and other games, but this is the first national sporting event. 1952 was the boxing between Charles and Walcott. 1955, Mickey Mantle facing Billy Pierce, a really good left-hander in Chicago, hit a 550-foot home run. This is the second time Mantle has hit a ball over 550 feet, and the other time was also batting right-handed in Griffith Stadium in Washington. 1974, the A's, Bill North and Reggie Jackson got into fisticuffs. And you remember they used to call them the Battling A's? This team, they'd be in the World Series every year, Joe Rudy, and they had a lot of Catfish Hunter, great players. But they certainly weren't happy the way Reggie was playing. And like Thurman Munson says, he's the stir. He's the stir that stirs the drink, or he's the straw that stirs the drink.
Right.
And in 1981, the greatest strikeout pitcher of all time set the major league record for most walks. Nolan Ryan walked the 778th batter. He had a lot of trouble control early in his career, came on strong at the mid part of his career, really gained his control. 7 no-hitters. But on this day, he passed Early Wynn. Do you remember Early? I don't know if you remember Doug Early Wynn.
I remember the name, sure.
He was a switch-hitting pitcher for Cleveland who used to pinch hit because he was such a good hitter. I said the other day, Don Drysdale had 36 or 38 home runs in his career. He would pinch hit. 251 lifetime average for Don Drysdale. Early Wynn was another really good hitter in Major League Baseball. And they said he was the meanest guy on the mound. You can imagine if you got a hit or you hit a long ball off him, next time up, you weren't going down. You were getting hit.
I'd like to have seen him because I don't know of anybody that was, well, actually Drysdale and Gibson, I would say, were the two meanest guys I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Drysdale, Willie McCovey owned him for some reason. And I remember way back when, and before a game one time, when players were allowed to kibitz together, he walked up to Willie, he goes, "Willie, I'm sorry." I said, "Where do you want it?" He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You want it in the leg, you want it in the butt, or you want it in the hip? But you're going to get hit." So, and it was amazing. Drysdale would pitch 323 innings and be 18-16. And he once, at one time, pitched 6 consecutive shutouts and 58 consecutive scoreless innings, which was broken by another Dodger, Orel Hershiser.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Another great show. Thank you, Chip. That was outstanding work once again on that one. So let's recap the free plays one more time. Chip and I like Kansas City and St. Louis in game 2 to go under. I have the Cubs and Washington to go over. And Chip likes the Yankees on the run line. So make sure that you stop back here tomorrow, Friday. There'll be a new crew. We'll see if Sean is able to make it. I know Chip's going to be here tomorrow, so we have that, and there'll be others as well. So have yourself a great Thursday. Chip and I plan to enjoy it. Hope you have a lot of winners today. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Take care.